The front speakers in the doors of my 2004 Chevy Silverado need replaced. When planning the install, I recommend parking on clean concrete. It will be a lot easier to locate any hardware that is accidentally dropped. The maximum size speakers that will fit are 6 3/4 inch diameter round speakers. Here are the speakers that I purchased. This comes with 2 speakers, protective grills, wires, hardware, and instructions. On the back of the speakers, you will find connection terminals with the wire connectors that correspond in size. The hardware includes clips and screws, which are used when installing the grills and when mounting the speakers. I won't be using these since my grills are part of the door molding, and the fact that I will be using self-tapping screws when mounting. Open the door all the way and begin by removing the window crank handle. I'm starting with this because it's probably the most difficult thing to remove and will need extra explanation. Start by pushing the door panel away from the crank and locate the retainer clip. Here's another view of it that might be helpful in explaining its position. The easiest way to remove this clip is to hook the top of the clip and pull it out. There is a special tool that can be purchased to remove window cranks, but you can make a tool that works very well. Here's what I made. I sawed off one side of a pair of tweezers and made a couple bends that will be used to hook the clip. Once you have secured the clip with the hook, give it a quick jerk and it comes right out. The only problem is the fact that it usually flies out, so make sure you're in a position to find it. Once the clip is removed, the crank can be pulled right off. Next, remove the door handle trim by prying it off with a flathead screwdriver. Here's a helpful view of the clips on the back side. Then remove the manual door lock switch with the same prying technique. Here's a view of the back side. Next, remove the screw that was hidden behind the lock switch. This takes a 9/32 socket. Now locate the triangular panel above the speaker. Pry this off using the flathead screwdriver. Here's a view of the back side. Using the 9/32 socket, remove the screw that is located in the bottom corner below the speaker. Using the same socket, remove the screw that is located above the door handle. The door panel can now be removed by simply lifting and pulling away from the door. Take note of the wires that are still connected to the electric lock switch. There's really no reason to disconnect this. I usually just keep the panel out of the way by hanging it to the side using a bungee. The speaker is now accessible. In order to remove it, locate the locking tab at the top, remove the filler, and press down using your thumbs to disengage the tab. Gently lift the speaker from the door. Then take note of the plug on the wire harness. Press the center catch to release it from the speaker terminals. It's important to know which wire is positive and which is negative. After researching, I have found the light green to be the positive and the dark green to be the negative. Though hard to see, the small terminal on the back of the speaker is labeled negative and the large terminal is positive. Using wire cutters, snip off the plug, and then strip the ends using wire strippers. Next, take the new wires and take note of the white line on the positive wire. This is the one that will be wired to the light green wire coming out of the door. Cut off about 12 inches of new wire with the connector ends. Strip the tips of the wires and use butt connectors to crimp them together. Next, feed the excess wire into the door. Take the connector end and plug them into the terminals on the speaker. Position the speaker in the factory opening and use self-tapping screws to mount into place. The speaker is now ready to use. Finally, assemble the door panel in the reverse order that you took it off. Then snap in the triangular panel and return the 3 screws with the 9/32 socket. Next, reinstall the window crank. Here's a helpful view of how to make installation a lot easier. Grasp the clip with a pair of hemostats or needle nose pliers. Then push it halfway on, barely into the receiving slots. Once halfway on, release the grasp. At this point, the crank can be slid onto the crank post, and a screwdriver can be used to push the clip on the rest of the way. Once again, start with the clip halfway on, slide the crank onto the post, and use the screwdriver to fully engage the clip. Next, return the panel to the door handle by snapping it into place. Then, snap on the manual lock switch, making sure the locking rod is inserted into its designated cavity on the back of the switch. The speaker is now ready to use.